Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of Southern Spice. I have here with me Mr. Jack Beauchamp, previously known as John Beauchamp, which we'll get into that later. So you're not a bail bonds agent, per se, in the state. What are you called?
I'm a bail enforcement agent.
Bail enforcement agent. Okay. And you're also a private security and PI, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you've actually helped me out before in some PI work, so I will recommend any of them. What's the easiest way to get in contact with you per business?
Probably my email.
Okay, what's your email, bud?
jackbeauchamp45@gmail.com.
That's a simple one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need any PI work done in the Beaufort County area, that is the man to call. Best rates in town. We were looking at a PI, and it was going to run us $35 an hour, but you do it enough to where you gauge the case and then you quote per case?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I don't like to just give out a flat rate.
Because then I feel like people would abuse it, because you would just be like, oh, I sat and watched her for 10 hours. That's $350.
Yeah, exactly.
I watched him.
A lot of people can just, a lot of private eyes, they can just say what they want on the paperwork, but I like to charge based on the case.
Okay. So how did you end up getting into the bail enforcement field, I guess? Do you just like hurting criminals?
No, it's not that I like hurting criminals or anything like that. It's
Remember now, this is all going to be on internet, so you got to be careful what you say.
Exactly.
But you can always wink at me when I'm right and you don't want to say anything.
Yeah, they won't see it.
So, how did that happen? It happened right, because for people who don't know, Jack and I went to high school together, and so if I slip up and call him John, that's just because I've known him for so long, and it's second nature to me. I mean, that's what you are in my phone contacts. You explained to me why a little bit, but we'll go into that a little bit later on, why you decided to change your name, and it's a valid reason. It's actually genuinely smart. I know plenty of people who do that for that type of reason. So how did you end up being a bail enforcement agent?
So after what happened with the schools and stuff like that, I knew I always wanted to work. And
give a little bit of background to that.
With the schools?
Yeah.
So
don't go into too much depth, because we gotta keep it straight. But don't forget, you can always wink at me, bud.
I know. So basically, what ended up happening was school district wanted to make an example out of me, and this officer, school resource officer with Beaufort PD, wanted to make a case with me. He had a real fucking hard on for me, because I was the guy that rode the motorcycle, wore the leather jacket and shit. He just wanted to fucking fuck with me.
Yeah, set an example, and mind you, everyone, he is the brand new resource officer, the first year in. I think, was he not a first year police officer himself, or he had been in, 2 years?
So he actually was fresh out of the fucking academy. 4 months on the job, he pulled his gun 5 times, and after about that 5th incident, they decided to move him over to SRO.
Keep it contained. I never had a problem with him, but that's just because of what classes I took, I guess. And I never really interacted with him all that much, unlike you, you were in ROTC, correct?
Yeah, I was in ROTC and drama.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming with ROTC, you interact with law enforcement and our SRO, and he's ex-military, correct?
Yeah, he was a former Marine.
So, once Marine, always Marine.
Yeah.
But, so you ended up getting in this kind of, there was no fight, it was just kind of not a physical fight, but you ended up in this bout where I don't really remember. I remember vaguely, but I don't have all the information correctly, because it was so boom bam, oh shit, he's expelled.
Yeah.
So from what I remember, your ex-girlfriend said something you had in your vehicle. Correct? And it wasn't even your vehicle, because the only vehicle you owned at the time was actually your motorcycle, if I remember correctly. So You're not even driving your vehicle. So you're driving somebody else's to school to get to school and actually be in the building and learn somewhat.
Yeah.
We'll just flat out say it, some bitch snitched on you. And then you ended up suspended originally for 10 days and then expelled.
Yeah. No, they expelled me right after my suspension.
So then you went in court and fought. How was that process? How long was that?
So for anything to actually happen, obviously the events occurred that same day. They actually took me to jail, so I was arrested.
I actually probably still have your mugshot screenshotted on my phone.
Yeah, and I smiled in that motherfucker. But it's not because I'm proud of what happened. It's just I was smiling because I knew that, given my background, who my family is, my family's been heavily involved with law enforcement for years, and I knew that what was going on was wrong, and I knew that this rookie, because that's what he is, he's just a fucking green around the ears rookie, I knew that he bit off more than he could fucking chew, and I knew that I was going to be able to beat this. And
your family didn't pull any strings. You just knew from past law enforcement and just experience. I mean, your mom's a 911 operator. Your dad, I'm sure, just with all the events and things he's tied into, knew many people from that area. And so you knew what you had going for you?
Yeah, no, it was never a matter of, strings being pulled or anything like that, Unfortunately, I'm not Paul Murder, so, I can't get away with...
Talk about him on last week's episode.
Unfortunately, I can't, get away with things because my daddy will just buy my way out of it,
Yeah.
I know the law.
Plus, you're not a straight white male. It just doesn't happen for you like that.
It's funny you mentioned that because a lot of people thought that because of the fact that I'm a minority that I would just get railroaded and fucked in the end. But I had complete faith in the justice system that I would turn out okay.
You don't have to say a specific number, but what were those lawyers' fees like?
Actually, as a matter of fact, my lawyer fee was free because my lawyer thought that what was going on was unjust.
So was he was it a he or a she that was representing you?
He also works with his wife. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, don't name names here. Unless you want a really good lawyer. If you want to know the lawyer and you want that lawyer to fight for you, just DM us on the Instagram page and we'll hook you up and set you up properly. Did he take the case? I want to say, I don't know if this is correct the way I say this. But was he relatively new to the justice system, or
my lawyer?
Yeah.
No, God no. I mean, he was practiced veteran. Like
been
he
around
himself
the block.
is actually.
I mean, I guess he had a private practice, so I mean, he's got a name for himself. Just
He also works for the public defender's office too. So you can get him, for free through that too. But that's not how I got my connection to him.
Okay. So you fought the case. How long was that process? Like, how many months did it take you to get from? So from being arrested to getting it expunged.
So from the time that I got arrested, it was actually 2 years, almost to the date, before we had actually sat in a trial. So
holy shit!
They decided to because of how long it took. They decided they're going to do the trial in one fucking day, and they were like, "Is everybody ready?" And I was just like, "Yeah." They offered me PTI, and I kept turning it down because of the fact that I hadn't done anything wrong. So I'm not going to admit guilt just to get it, pushed under the fucking rug.
So PTI, you would have done community service, and that would have expunged your record, or how was that?
So PTI, I would have still had a record. Like there would have been a record of my arrest. And I would have basically just done community service, and they would have been like, "Oh, he did community service to, hash out a sentence." It's basically pleading guilty without pleading guilty.
I guess it's kind of like the more adult version for Alive at 25 if you get a ticket.
Yeah, it's basically like if you're a first offender, like you've never done anything wrong in your fucking life, they give you a chance.
Okay. Do you think that actually, with you working with and in the field of law, do you think that's actually a good process?
I don't necessarily actually agree with the PTI process because of the fact that I'm like I said, I'm a firm believer in the justice system. So, my minority brothers out there that are listening to this, you have a chance. Don't think that just because, you see blue that you're going to get fucked, all right? I grew up around a law enforcement family, and I know that a lot of the people out here are very good people and will uphold the law.
Not all cops are bad. We know plenty of good ones.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, with being a minority, and when you're on your motorcycle, you literally look like a gang member. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you've got multiple tattoos, don't you?
Yes, I do have a couple of tattoos.
So, I mean, what's the best somebody can do when they get in that situation?
What do you mean?
So let's say you're a minority, you get pulled over on the road, you're going 15 over. What's the best situation to make sure it goes smoothly and you don't get put behind bars for solid reason?
Well, if you know you fucked up, you should admit that you fucked up. It's literally just, yes, officer, I realize I fucked up. Like, do you know why I pulled you over? And you tell him straight up, yes, I know why you pulled me over, and I apologize. He'll ask you for your insurance, your fucking registration. Give it to him. You're nice to him. They're nice to you. Matter of fact, just 2 months ago, I got fucking pulled over by Port Royal of all departments. Small ass fucking department, but they fucking what is it called when they just delete your ticket? I
gave you a warning.
Well, no. I got a ticket, but I didn't have to fucking pay it because I had already gotten it squared away. They basically told me, like, if I showed up for court and I got it taken care of, I didn't have the registration in the car.
Oh,
so
okay.
I showed them that I had registration, and then they basically took it off, and I didn't get points or any fines awarded or anything like that.
So now this is not... If somebody has drugs in the car, everyone says it's best to tell the officer before. Is that true?
An officer, yes, it's always better to just say, yeah,
I've got to ate the weed on me now.
If it's over the legal limit, then I would tell you to just, try and get away with that shit and not say anything. But if it's just a little bit of fucking weed, then, it's whatever. It's different, for us than police.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's different for more hardcore drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, I know somebody who's been busted with an ounce on them, and she told the officer, hey, I've got weed in my car. She goes, I don't know how much it is. It's probably near an ounce. I don't have a scale. I don't plan on selling it. Order a $250 ticket and send her on her way. Took the marijuana and called it a day.
Yep. They can be like that.
You, because I keep wanting to call you a bail enforcement agent. Or a bail bonds agent, but you're really a bail enforcement agent. So I think if this is correct, you changed your name to help you out in that situation?
Yeah, so the reason why I started going by Jack was because of what happened with the school. Officially at that point, when I got arrested, I decided that, John Beauchamp was dead, and he needed to be gone because that's not who I was anymore, and I wasn't going to let that arrest be me for the rest of my life. So I changed my name to be a little bit more professional. Even if you search Jack or John Beauchamp, either or, my record's been expunged. I was not guilty, so
you're in the clear on that one. Now, for those who don't know, you took a bullet to the chest. You got to flesh out that story for us, because that's a wild story. And no, it's not like I guess you did take it pretty hard. Just flesh out the story for the viewers, because I know what happened between what you've told me before, but flesh it out for the listeners.
So basically what ended up happening was it was a simple FTA. Me and my partner.
What's an FTA?
Oh, I apologize. Terminology. FTA is failure to appear.
Okay.
So FTA is almost 90% of our bread and butter. That's what we go on most of the time. People don't show up for fucking court, and then they send bounty hunters after you.
It's easy money for you. Now, how much do you averagely get? Does it depend on what the charges are?
So depending on what their bail amount is, we can take home anywhere between 10 and 15%.
Nice.
So I mean, if you're looking at, let's just say, 10% of $100,000 bond, that's $10,000 I made off of that one arrest.
So on a $100,000 bond, what charges kind of go for that? On robbery, I would imagine.
Honestly, you'd kind of be surprised with some of the bond amounts that I've seen. Like, it's almost odd. Like, there's no set amount. Like, I mean, I've seen somebody just get busted with weed and then they get like something
a $10,000 bond.
Yeah, like $10,000 or like $60,000 bond. I mean, it's ridiculous. The bond amount that some of these judges set. And it's up to the judges to set the bond.
So it varies per judge.
Yes, it does.
Now, so do you work? Are you a private contractor, or do you work for a specific bail bonds company?
So when I first started out, I did work for a bail bonds company. I decided not to work for them anymore, and I wanted a private contract. Although South Carolina is you cannot do that. You cannot, private contract, as they call them, bond runners is the license name.
Okay.
So you can't do that. However, there's no clause saying that if you're a surety agent or a professional bondsman that you can't private contract with other bondsmen. So I decided to go back. I got my full bondsman license, and then I started private contracting.
So pretty much what happens is one bail bonds enforcer or bond enforcer works for a company, and then he hires you to work with him?
So basically, a bondsman, not necessarily their agent, but their agent by South Carolina statute and law is called a bond runner on their license.
Okay.
So the bondsman can elect runners, and the runner will work for that bondsman, and that runner can only work for that bondsman. So to get around that, if you're a professional bondsman, which, I have the professional bondsman license and a surety bondsman license, you can actually contract yourself because of the fact that both a professional bondsman and a surety bondsman can have the power to arrest. It's like basically you have to think about it like levels. So at the top, you've got a surety bondsman, second place is professional bondsman, and then runner. So as you go up the ladder, you can do more. So the surety bondsman does everything.
So pretty much you're your own business, and then you contract with other businesses. That's the runaround easy way out?
That's what I had to do in order to do it the way I wanted to in this state. Other states are different.
So now, were you working for a specific company that when you got shot? I don't know if you can legally say that or not. Let's not say that, but let's go back to the story of when you got shot. So it's an FTA, correct?
Yeah, it was a failure to appear. So it was a simple failure to appear. He also had a bond revocation. So a bond revocation is we can get a complaint from any witness, and they could be like, so-and-so is violating their bond contract. Usually it's a cosigner, and in this case it was a cosigner. The cosigner called us to let us know that the fugitive was violating the terms of his bond agreement. His specific terms of the agreement that he violated was drinking. He had a DUI charge, and part of his bond was that he cannot go to any bars, drink, or anything like that until after it's all said and done. So the cosigner saw him drinking and decided to call the bondsman, because if we come and pick up that fugitive, then the cosigner's fucked too. So the cosigner will call us.
Decided to unfuck himself?
Right. The cosigner will call us, exactly, to unfuck himself, so that way he doesn't get fucked.
Okay. So what happens, like, let's say, now, okay, well, we got to finish the story. So you were shot in the chest?
Yeah, no, I was not in the square of my chest, but I was shot in my upper left, so the way you're looking at me right now, it'd be your right, my left.
So kind of right above the heart, I would say, right?
Yeah,
in there,
right here.
So right above typically where you see a normal police officer's badge. Yeah, so right there. So just imagine that, guys. So it hit your vest, correct?
Yeah, I got shot twice, 45 in the vest.
And the way you described it to me earlier is it was just shredded. Your vest was shredded.
Yeah, no, it was completely fucking destroyed. Like, I'm never buying from that company again.
Dang, that's how bad I mean, hey, it saved your life.
It did save my life, but had a third bullet come by,
probably not.
I wouldn't be sitting here.
No. So you fractured your collarbone.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What other damage did you take?
There was a lot of hemorrhaging from the skin and stuff like that. You could see bruising and stuff. But like by the time they actually had cut the vest off of me, when I was in the ambulance, like you could see like I was already turning purple, on my chest and stuff from the impact.
And we want to make everything clear here real quick, guys. If we seem a little vague on certain things, it's just because he can't contractually and due to state laws really go in depth in it. So that's why everything kind of seems a little vague. He's not giving, well, homie came up behind this house and, shot off a couple rounds. We have to stay relatively within his terms so a hardworking young man doesn't lose his job or his licenses, because you can get in huge trouble for that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, if I were to just list off any of the fucking companies that I've worked for, I mean, they could stop doing business with me. I'm sure if SCDOI, decided to just do any kind of check, and it's like what I was telling you earlier with the body cam footage. I can't really do anything with that footage other than, use it for hearings and court appearances and shit until I leave. And
the major thing is some of these are still open cases, correct?
Yes.
So that could also affect the court's outcome,
right?
And affect juries. So we have to stay a little vague on that, and we apologize for that. One day, maybe when everything's said and done, we'll have you come in here and really give us a good, detailed
Anything that's a closed case, I could definitely talk about.
Okay. So assume when we're being very vague, these are still open cases. That's just what we want you guys to assume. So, did you stay the night in the hospital after you were shot?
Yeah. After I was shot, I ended up staying in the hospital. My partner was there as well. She had actually been worse off than me.
She got hit too?
Yeah, she got flesh wounds. So,
ooh.
Yeah, both of the bullets that entered her were almost an inch or half inch. I can't remember what the doc said, but pretty close to her femoral artery.
Which is that artery that runs along you guys' legs, just for anyone who doesn't know. So some of these guys are fucking terrible shots.
Yeah, it was quick, and when we actually approached the door, he had a beer in his hand. So it's kind of like, you know, if the report wasn't enough, it was the fact that you're drinking in front of us. So, you know.
How quick did everything happen? Was it 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds?
It was pretty quick. It was simply, you know, we got out of the vehicle. We started walking up onto the porch. My partner took lead. She knocked on the door. We announced ourselves, you know, bail bonds, come to the door. He came to the door. He had a matter of fact, it was Michelob Ultra in a glass bottle. And he showed up at the door, and, you know, he was just being belligerent, you know.
So he was intoxicated too, probably. Drunk opposite. That's for a DUI, and you're going to cause that much more trouble for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, he obviously wasn't that smart, you know. The situation escalated from there, you know, because once we caught him literally red-handed, it was a matter of, all right, you know, time to put your hands behind your back. He's like, well, let me finish my fucking beer, you know. And he goes to he drinks the rest of his beer, and then he puts it down on this side table. Now, I'm standing to the right of the door. My partner's standing on the left side of the door. So I can't see where he reaches over because he's reaching across his left. And I assumed that he was putting it on an end table. That same end table that he put his empty beer bottle down on is where he kept his .45, and that's something that we didn't know. So when you are arrested by police, until you're, you know, shit gets solved and whatnot, you're actually supposed to turn in all of your firearms until after you settle up with the law. Okay. So obviously he hadn't turned in his firearm, and we didn't know that.
So that's another charge on him.
If he was alive, yes, that would have been another charge.
He didn't make it out?
No, he didn't make it out of the situation. We almost didn't either.
That's some crazy shit. That's some like real life Dog the Bounty Hunter shit right there.
Well, Dog doesn't use real guns, so.
He uses rubber rounds, I'm assuming?
Actually, he uses paintball guns.
Ooh.
I think, matter of fact, and again, I can't say which bondsman it was, but my bondsman at the time knows him on a personal level. But I remember a conversation that I had with the bondsman. They were talking about some incident that had happened when they did have actual firearms, and from then on, they just never, ever used actual firearms from that point on.
That's got to be even scarier, man, not knowing that you're not packing heat as well.
Yeah, no, I always have heat, and I also have less than lethal on me. So
yeah, I mean, you have to legally. So what's the funniest moment you've gotten into? Because I'm sure this job is beyond stressful. I mean, you practically work 3 jobs. So you're bail bonds enforcer, you're a PI, and then you're also private security. So what have you had any funny moments, like just people who are just like, I'm going to jail, woo, type deal?
Yeah, I've had a lot of funny moments. I think one of my favorite moments, it's going to sound weird, obviously, like that I'm saying this out loud, this is my favorite moment, but we had this fucking nutcase that we were arresting, and he's streaking down the goddamn, you know, street, and like he's just out of his fucking mind, and we're just keep trying to like call him by his name, and then like he keeps talking about us being like demons and like the bad man, and
so he's on a bad trip.
Yeah, no, I mean this guy's out of his fucking mind, you know. Turns out homie was a schizo.
Ooh.
Yeah, we know my fucking track record with schizos, so but he was just out of his fucking mind, you know, losing his shit. And we decided to tase him. That didn't fucking work. So we tried rubber rounds. That didn't fucking work. We were shooting simunition rounds out of AR-15. So if that doesn't work, then we switch over to the big boy rounds, and that comes out of a fucking 12-gauge shotgun.
Woo.
So shooting a 6-inch rubber slug, that'll knock somebody the fuck out, and that's exactly what happened to this fucker. I kind of felt bad, I ended up having to back up, and I took the shot myself. I backed up like, almost 100 feet just to shoot him with this fucking rubber slug because I didn't want to fucking accidentally kill the dude, so... Shot him. He fucking went down. I mean, he was like on the floor,
Just passed out, out.
And then we're like, let's try to get this guy into cuffs, and then we get him in cuffs, and he starts like wriggling around, and he's trying to get his cuffs like underneath his legs, and I'm a big dude, so like seeing skinny motherfuckers do that shit, it's like, that's wild. So we actually have something for these people that we have to deal with. It's called the wrap, and it is not fun, but basically, I don't know if you've seen that video where the officers dealt with this guy. It was almost the exact same fucking situation. I mean, the guy was yelling and being belligerent and stuff like that, and then he starts screaming bloody hell because of the fact that they're putting him in this wrap. So what it does is it's like a full handcuff for your body, and
it's pretty much like a straitjacket.
Yeah, basically, but for the whole fucking body, not just your torso. I mean, it restricts all of your movement. Yeah, it's not fun.
It doesn't even sound fun to put on. It's not even...
Mm-mm.
Do you and the whole wifey ever get kinky with the full body wrap?
No, but I do use the chains and whips.
So how long have you and your wife been married?
This past December was a full year. We've been together longer, though.
I honestly, don't take this in the wrongest way, but I thought you were going to be kind of those single types forever, like... Not really finding somebody that was the right fit for you, because you're a very specific guy. You like what you like, and there's no difference in it. You like your emo.
I'll put it this way: I love my big titty goth girlfriends, and that's exactly what my wife is.
So, I mean, you obviously had your type. You've dabbled in other types, which obviously didn't end well for you.
No, I seem to attract crazy.
How does she view your job? How does she feel about that? Because I'm sure that's got to be stressful in a marriage.
Yeah, no, I mean, she wasn't exactly thrilled. She wasn't thrilled when I decided that I wanted to do this. I didn't have many options when I decided to get involved. But I also decided that regardless of the outcome of the court case, I wanted to do this instead of be a police officer, because I've noticed that police officers have their hands tied with a lot of red tape and shit, and I'm not required to have a warrant when I go and kick somebody's fucking door in. So
now, does everyone that gets bailed out have to have a cosigner?
Yes, you have to have a cosigner.
What happens if, let's say, getting bailed out is practically a bail bond is practically getting a loan to get you out of jail.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So what happens if nobody pays that and something happens to the guy? Do the bail bonds company just have to eat the $50,000 bond?
Yeah, so if we can't locate the asset, then the bail company's eating shit. Yeah, so that's why they hire us to get their asset. Yeah. I've never missed a case that I've been assigned. I can tell you that.
How often does that happen? I would imagine very rarely, or bail bonds companies wouldn't be in business because it wouldn't be a profitable one.
I mean, if you want to talk on a national scale, it happens all the time. They skip, and the reason why we don't have a jurisdiction limitation. Your normal police officer, or let's look at Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. Their jurisdiction ends at the county line. My jurisdiction doesn't end until I hit the border. So
if you found out some guy, let's say, skipped on a $100,000 bond for armed robbery, you track him down, you talk to the family. Oh, he left. You track him down. So we're in South Carolina. You track him down to Texas. You guys go out to Texas and then can get that reward and come back for it?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Go all the way to Texas. Bring his ass back here. Plenty of trips to Texas.
Got as much reach as the FBI, probably even more.
Well, they like to call us the non-federalized marshals. So
I see you out there, John Wayne.
I like the cowboy shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you ever wear a cowboy hat to work?
It's funny you say that. I got my first cowboy hat on my trip to Wyoming.
Nice.
Yeah, they actually they pitched in to get one because they're making fun of me, the fact that I was the only fucker in the whole office. I mean, when I was in Wyoming, the
Were
agents
you doing
I was
training
working
in
with.
Wyoming or just?
No, I was actually there for a case.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was there for a case, and the fucking the bail agent's office was right next to the sheriff's office, so they shared the same office space. And, like, literally the left side of the building is all sheriff's office and, like, fucking 12 deputies because it's Wyoming, you know. And then to the right of it, you have the bail agent, you know. So we went in there, and, like, they're really good friends with the sheriff and the sheriff's office and stuff like that, some of the deputies.
So it's a pretty tight-knit coordination there.
Oh, yeah, over there, yeah.
I mean, here it's probably hard because how many police officers are in Beaufort County alone? Probably more than 250?
Yeah, no.
Or just about probably 250.
There's plenty of officers here.
So it's hard to coordinate with such a big department and so many, you know, a lot of counties, I would assume in Wyoming have about like 3 towns per county.
Yeah, it's pretty small in Wyoming. It's very stretched
here
out.
In Beaufort County, we've got Port Royal, Beaufort, Ladies Island, St. Helena, Hilton Head, Bluffton, Burton, Fripp. So there's a lot of intercoursing city police departments.
Yeah.
Wyoming brought you out there for a case, and then you decided, I like Wyoming. That's where I want to end up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I brought it out. I got out there, and you know, the guys that I worked with were fucking phenomenal. You know, they taught me shit that I would have never learned here. You know, about tracking down fugitives and shit, and you know, the fact that they're just nice. Like I don't know how to describe it other than they're nice.
It's the Canadian version of United States. It's
I think
the
so.
Canada
Yeah,
of United States.
You know, but they're also pretty rough and gruff when they need to be. You know, it's kind of like the South but West.
Yeah, it's if a redneck married a lady from Toronto and had a baby, that's
pretty much that's exactly
boy.
how it is.
So, how much do you have to? With being a bail bonds enforcer, with each state you go in, you have to enforce it a certain different way. So you have to be aware of all of those bail bonds enforcing limiters in certain states or laws.
Yeah, so it's actually, it kind of sucks, but you know, anytime there's any law change and stuff like that, it's not like we're notified. We have to, you know our shit. You know, we have to stay up to date. You know, like the general public doesn't go out of their way to listen to, you know, some of these bail bonds hearings and stuff like that. A couple of states have tried to do away with bail bonds, and they're replacing it with I can't remember what the actual program is called, but it's a tax funded program, go figure, and it's the government's way of trying to get rid of the cash bail system, and it's giving everybody a chance at bail versus, you know, the way it is now.
Who can afford it?
Right, who can afford bail, which, you know, some people thinks it sucks that, you know, obviously not everybody can afford to get out, but, you know.
You're in there for a reason.
Exactly. You're in there for a reason, but if you're going to sit there and charge every taxpayer, you know, money on top of everything else and then give everybody a chance to get out of jail, you know, you're going to create more work. You know, you're going to put the bondsman out of business.
Sounds like California to me.
Exactly. It is communist-fornia, and I can't fucking stand California. They just need to fall off already. God.
You're one of the very few minority people that are very conservative. And you're actually an anarchist?
Yes, I am an anarchist by definition.
Explain that way of thinking. In your New World regime.
Well, I don't believe in a New World regime, but I do believe that the current political climate, it needs a restart. If we end up in Civil War version 2, I'm going to be right there on the front fucking lines. You know, I have no problem going up again, and I can say this because I don't work for the federal government. You know, I can say that I'm totally fine with fighting the federal government if I have to, because of the fact that they're tyrants. You know, they're tyrannical, and I stand behind that. You know, I don't appreciate taxes being imposed on everybody. You know, I mean, look at our fucking founding fathers. They started a whole war over a 3% tax 3% on tea.
Yeah, and now I'm being taxed. Let me make sure I have this number right. I'm being taxed nearly about 18% of my paycheck.
I get taxed 30% of my paycheck.
Yeah. Sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
It is a bunch of bullshit, and that's why I'm an anarchist, man. Fuck the IRS. I'm gonna say that right now. I'm not.
Okay, Wesley Snipes. We see you.
I'm not gonna go out of my way and say that something needs to happen over there, but I'm not exactly gonna lose any sleep if something does happen to the IRS building.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. Like, how hard is it for you being a minority and being of that nature of thinking? Would you generally call yourself a conservative?
Yeah, I do have a lot of conservative views. Like, there's certain things that, like...
Are you economically conservative but liberally socially?
I'm not sure, man. Honestly, like it's all dependent on the issue. Like that's why I don't say that I'm Democrat or Republican.
You're a true middle ground. You fully believe that, where each idea is different.
Yeah, there's some things that I agree with and some things that I don't. From day one, I've always been like, you love who you love. You want to be, gay and married or lesbian and married. That's you. You love that person. You should have that right to do that. Everybody gives me shit about the whole pro-choice versus pro-life argument. I'm pro-minding my damn business. It's not my fucking business, whether it's legally, religiously, I don't view it that way. It's not my business.
I feel like for a lot of people people don't realize, and a lot of that pro-life, pro-choice deal is deep-rooted in religion. But you can make a solid argument not religiously. That's what I feel like everyone's problem is. Like, yes, I get your religion is important to you, and it should sway the way you vote. I'm not saying that, but it should not sway the way we write laws.
Right. I mean, we have a separation of church and state for a reason. If you decide to vote with the party that is more aligned with your religion, that's your right to do so. I don't think that's bad at all. You could do what you want. That's what I believe in. I'm pro freedom.
You're pro the bald eagle. So
exactly.
I think the big problem is people don't realize when the government gets involved in stuff, it gets even muddier.
No, you're 100% right. Look at Virginia, for God's sakes. They're getting their Second Amendment stripped away day by day. And
nobody's doing a damn thing about it.
Yeah, everybody wanted to talk all this good shit. Oh, if they do that, then we're going to rise up. Yet, nobody's fucking doing it. I guarantee you, I know fucking 40, South Carolina boys that want to take a trip to Virginia and go clap some Fed boy cheeks, but, they're not doing it.
Did you see the sheriff's department that was on the march with them? They were like, we work for the so-and-so sheriff's department. We will not take your guns away.
Yeah, I did see some of those rallies. I actually saw the conference, too, where all the sheriffs from the different counties were interviewing and stuff.
Listen, guns can be a very good thing and also a very bad thing. That's not... I think I would love... The one thing I would love federally across the board is a federal concealed carry permit. I think that would be great. Now, it's going to be ridiculously hard to do. Ridiculously hard to do. I do think gun laws need tweaking. But on the flip side of it is if the federal government knows who has guns and who doesn't, who are they going to take out first? Whose doors are they banging in at 12 o'clock in the morning when shit hits the fan?
Exactly. These red flag warrants are without, any kind of fucking warning, man. Like, your neighbor could just be jealous of whatever the fuck you got going on, and then they could be like, oh, he's got guns, he's a danger, and then boom, you're getting red flagged and you're getting fucked by the police. Next thing you know, you got 16 fucking SWAT assholes coming into your house and shooting the shit out of you because you have weapons and you have rights. But how dare you have rights in this climate?
And a lot of people who make the argument that the AR-15 is not necessary and the Second Amendment was for
I tell those people to kiss my ass.
People don't realize amendments evolved for the time. Like, our founding fathers were smart. Now, I'm not saying our founding fathers weren't dumb as well. Like, I mean, I get it. A lot of them probably owned slaves. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're right in that sense. I'm not agreeing to that. But they had a vision for the future in mind when they originally created this nation.
Right.
And things do need to evolve with time. Like, that's what we have amendments for. But, you get the argument, well, is an AR-15 really going to stop a tank and this, that, and the third? Obviously, you've never seen Red Dawn before.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Great fucking movie.
There's ways you can get around it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the military. Like, let's just say that uprising did happen. Let's just say we got somebody crazy in the political seat and just decide to say, okay, I'm going to write an executive order that's going to strip all firearms from every citizen. Do you really think most of the military is going to follow that order?
Fuck no. Are you kidding me?
Some will, but there's going to be a lot. Even with generals, a lot of them are going to be like, I will not command that order.
See, and unfortunately, it would have to be martial law. When you look at, if some kind of executive order like that were to get passed, it would have to be under martial law, where, you know, the president is no longer the president. He assumes the mantle of commander-in-chief, you know, instead of being looked at as a president, he is the commander-in-chief. What he says goes, and the military does so. You know, so if we're in martial law and this happens, then, you know, a lot of different things can happen. You know, I don't think at any point in time the whole nation's been under martial law, to my knowledge. No. You know, that's never happened in history. But when you look at who can operate during martial law, are you really going to be scared of the National Guard coming to try and take your guns away?
No.
I mean, that's like sending the fucking B team.
Now
the Marines, that's a totally different fucking story.
Oh, hell no. All right. You guys won this one. Here you go. They're in the closet in the back. My big thing is when something happens, and this is particularly on the left, both sides do this, that happens when they say, oh, you know, the guns cause these mass shootings. Well, no, but are you going to blame other things? You know, let me see if I'm trying to phrase this correctly. You can't blame an inanimate object that was with human interaction. Like, you can't set the old American dad skit where he sets the gun on the table and says, gun, kill. It doesn't work like that. There are sick people in this world, and most of them are white. I'm not gonna fucking disagree with you on that. But I feel like a big problem with it is a lot of these fucked up people want notoriety. And most of gun deaths happen in inner cities that are mostly democratically run.
Yeah, and then they have Detroit, really strong
Chicago,
gun laws. Chicago, you mean Chirac.
Yeah. I mean, literally nearly 2 people are murdered every day in Chicago and Detroit.
I fucking believe it.
That's crazy. And it's just senseless drug. And I feel like a lot of it is because our education is failing. Our education system is failing people. And the more money you dump into education doesn't mean it's going to fix the problem. People don't realize that. There needs to be a lot of it is parental change, society change. I mean, where you grow up matters, and what puts in your head, and your city matters. And you have the right to, anyone has the right to vote which way they want and say their piece. I'm not telling somebody that if they don't think guns should be allowed in the United States, they should go kill themselves. That's not what I'm saying, or kiss my ass. That's not what I'm saying. You have the right to that idea. But I feel like our big problem today is people are trying to find, they're just focusing on the problem and not finding a way to solve the problem. People mostly focus on the problem, not what's going to solve it. And it's all right to have different ideas to solve it, but I mean, come on, can't we come to an understanding here? I mean, there are certain things that Democrats do better than Republicans, and there are certain things that Republicans do better than Democrats. Mostly tax cuts. Shout out to Donald Trump.
God bless him.
Yeah, it's weird. How much hate do you get for being a minority and supporting Donald Trump?
Dude, matter of fact, my sisters no longer talk to me because in their eyes, I am a bootlicking, racist bigot.
Nice.
Yeah. So they hate the fact that I've got a Confederate flag outside my house. They hate that, you know, I support Donald Trump.
You're Puerto Rican, right?
Yeah.
So are you Latino or Hispanic?
Neither, actually. I'm Taino, so Latino, Hispanic, that covers like, your Spaniards and Mexicans and everything else. But my particular, like where I come from in Puerto Rico, I'm the Taino people. That's actually why I have, this on my fingers. It's a genetic trait from my tribe.
That's some wild shit.
Yep. So officially on all the government paperwork, I don't put Hispanic or Latino anymore. I actually fill in Taino.
Oh, nice. Other and write-in answer?
Yeah.
So, that's pretty crazy. Let me ask you this as a man of minority race. Do you think Donald Trump's racist?
No, not at all.
Really?
Not even a little bit. I don't think Donald Trump is racist at all.
Dude, he's done a lot of good stuff. Now, I'm not saying he's perfect. Dude needs to shut his mouth.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of things that it's kind of just like, dude, you're giving away too much. The poker face is gone.
It's gone. What do you think his approval rating right now? Is 50-50, you would say? Or maybe 45-50?
Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't look at the political climates. I kind of just like, if it's on the news, I try to stay away from the left leaning and the right leaning and just go for the straight middle ground,
I wish there was a news network that just spit me the facts.
Right.
Just tell me what's going on. And I think it's important because you have to watch both sides. You really do. You should watch one side and then watch the other side's argument. I've actually today been looking. You know who's been popping up on my Facebook feed? And I'm a diehard conservative in general. You know what's been popping up on my Facebook feed today, and it just proves to me that Facebook is liberal as hell? The Young Turks. All on my Facebook
Why
feed.
The fuck are the Young Turks all on my shit, bro? Like, it's not just you, I swear. Like,
it's all over the place. I'm like, why? Where did you guys come from? How much money did you pay Facebook?
This now.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. And I'm just like, most of the posts I like are funny Republican jokes. Hillary jokes.
Yeah.
I follow Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro on Facebook.
I love Steven Crowder.
And you're gonna pop up recommended for you, Young Turks. What?
Yeah, exactly. That's so wild, bro.
Like, I'm just like, you guys are using the wrong algorithm, dude. And YouTube's got it bad too now because I looked up.
Mm-hmm.
I like Steven Crowder. I like listening to Steven Crowder. I like listening to Ben Shapiro. The guy, there's somebody on the left that I really, really enjoy, and I can't remember their name because I don't listen to them all that much as I should. Oh, man. What? Oh.
Shit. I used to actually listen from the left side, Rachel Maddow. I used to really like her, and then the election happened, and we all saw her reaction on fucking live TV.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked Andrew Yang as a candidate. Smart. Had plans.
Yes.
I really did think the jiu-jitsu police officer thing was pretty dope. The $1,000 a month sounds good. It would help me out here grow my business. I could spend it on advertising, new equipment, help with afford a studio.
See, I was completely down for Yang. Like, I probably was gonna vote for him.
I was too,
even though he was gonna kill my industry.
I just want this to be out there. I literally switched my party for the primary to Democrat so I could vote for Andrew Yang, and then he dropped out of the race before he came to South Carolina for the primary. So I got to go and switch it back now.
Yeah.
But
I'm still Republican, so.
I was just like, what? Bernie Sanders, to me, I think he's a genuine guy. And he generally believes in his idea, but I just don't think his ideas are going to solve the problems, if that makes any sense.
I'm a firm believer that some of his policies are just going to create more problems.
I think so, too. And what happens to all the people who paid college debt off through years of working, like my parents, or my mother, generally speaking, she took money out to go to get her bachelor's degree and both her master's. And she paid those off. And my mom is a school teacher, so she's not making wow money. Just to let you guys know, she's not some doctor or some professor. She was a kindergarten teacher. And she paid those off on top of medical bills that she faces all the time. What are we doing for those people? I'm sorry you went to college and then flunked out, or you went to college for lesbian dance theory and you can't find something in your field. Now do I feel for people who are engineers and these high demanding jobs that can't get a job? Of course I do. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into hiring. Your work experience, internships, how you speak at an interview.
No, yeah, no, you're 100% right. You know, especially with the internships. I mean, fuck, I couldn't get a job when I first got licensed to save my fucking life, dude. You know,
because you're a rookie, no experience.
Nobody wants to take on a fucking rookie, especially at cost. So what I did was I started doing it for free. I worked for free for the first like 3 or 4 months. When I got shot, I was working for free.
Ooh, that's got to be a bitch. Is that when you decided, hey, I'm charging for this shit from now on?
No, actually. Because when I got shot, it was the first month on the job.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was a real shell shock for me.
I bet your wife was shitting a brick, boy.
Oh, man, she was like, you know how wives are. I was totally right.
You should have listened to me, babe. You should have listened.
Exactly.
But that's just some crazy shit, man. But people don't realize, like, what all goes into a job. And a lot of people hate the good old boy system, you know. Oh, you got this job because you know so-and-so. And it probably helps that you know somebody. Like, I'm not going to recommend or hire somebody for a job.
Unless you know them or have worked with them.
Yeah, or they have a really good track record. Like, I know the product he supplies because I worked for him at so-and-so. So I'm going to hire him because I know what he can do and I've seen his potential. Yeah. So why wouldn't you hire that person?
Yeah, if you don't have any of those personal connections, it's really going to be a lot of, you know, you got to whore yourself in the beginning. You know?
Like in my job field, I did not get to making the money I was now. Like I literally ate shit for 6 months and then trained, ate shit, and then got this job opportunity and took it. I left without any remorse. So you worked for free for the first 3 to 4 months?
Yeah, man, I worked free. I didn't really bother asking for a price. I wanted the experience so that way I could eventually
do what you wanted.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, the bondsman was nice enough to cover the hospital visit, though.
I would hope so. Like, you didn't make any money off this kid. Here you go.
Yeah, no, she covered the cost because I saved my partner's life.
Yeah.
So.
Do you get a lot of heat for being a young guy in that industry?
God, you have no fucking idea. I mean, so there's this thing on Facebook called the Fugitive Recovery Network. And
that sounds like a Facebook group I want to join. Fuck these kazoo commercials.
Like, so in order to get invited into the group, you got to know somebody. So I got invited into the group, and there's like a whole background fucking check that they do on you before you can even start seeing shit.
I don't question it, man. They're talking about criminals.
Yeah, man. So basically, everybody in this group is a fugitive recovery agent, a bail enforcement agent, bounty hunter, whatever your state decides to give you the title of, that's who's in this group. And we all bullshit, shoot the shit, and, you know, we also post up, you know, be on the lookout for us, you know, bolos. So
that's got to be dope. Like, hey, we've heard he's active in said state. This is what he looks like.
Yeah, they actually developed an app for us too, which is...
That's awesome. Yeah. There's an app for everything, man.
They have an app where you can...
Is it only on the iTunes store?
No, it's on Google Play. So basically, they will post a reward fee and the fugitive and like all their information and stuff like that, and like last known whereabouts, and like you can check your local area.
It's literally a social media version of a wanted dead or alive poster from a John Wayne movie.
Yes, it's exactly that.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah, man. I got a lot of private contracts through there.
It's Tinder for fugitives. Like,
it's like, I don't feel like this one today. I don't feel like that one today.
Ooh. That looks like a large check to bring home to the missus.
Yeah, man. Some of these do pay very nice, too.
Yeah. But it's a lot of eating shit, I feel like. I mean, how much time do you think you waste on an averagely night when you do bail enforcement?
I mean... There's some times where you can catch them in like maybe 2 or 3 days. Like, that's great. But other times you're going to spend weeks to months looking for
these guys.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going out every night making $10,000 from a $100,000 bond.
Yeah, no, not every night.
It's weeks of work and effort put into it.
Yeah. And all at the benefit of not costing the taxpayer a goddamn dime.
Shout out to that. I love private business, man. Government needs to get out of shit.
And the government's trying to muscle their way in. It's pretty shitty. A couple of states have tried it, and it's actually failed horribly. So it ends
up
looking...
What states have tried it?
The last state that I remember switched over to it was California, and California is actually switching back this year to their cash bail system because people were going and lobbying for it to come back. It was a really bad flop. had more people that the government bailed out and just ran than, came back and faced the music. So,
yeah, I mean, because it's different. I mean, when you guys get contracted out, like there's a difference in effort, I would assume, because that's your paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean,
we go all out for our shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like being a door-to-door salesman. Like, I mean, you're always on it doing something because that's your bread and butter. But when you're contractually through a salary through the state, I don't know, little Timmy, I couldn't find him. I asked his mom. She said no. I didn't look at anything around the house. I didn't check anything. How easy is it can you guys get access to like credit card records and of that nature?
Actually, yes. We do have a system that we use. I use Delve Point. Delve Point is fucking fantastic. I mean, you can run, because we'll already have like the credit card information, obviously, through their paperwork and stuff like that. So we can track their credit card and get real time locations based on where their credit card was used.
And I'm assuming when there's nothing illegal about it, because probably when they sign that paperwork for that bail bonds, it gives them permission to run.
Yeah, when you sign one of these a lot of people don't actually read these contracts.
They're like, I just want to get out of jail.
I want to get out of jail. And they don't realize what they're getting into. They have a commitment to uphold, and unfortunately, when they don't do that, then the bondsman hires us to come and get you, and, it's not really a good day for you at that point. But, 90% of the time, you're literally signing away all of your fucking rights, to the bondsman. You eat shit and sleep when the bondsman tells you to. Nice. Because to the bondsman, yes, he's getting you out of jail, but you're a dollar sign, essentially, You're
his paycheck.
Exactly. You're the bondsman's paycheck. And then if you fuck up, you're my paycheck.
A lot of late nights, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. How often are you home when you do that kind of work?
Honestly, if it's local, then, I come home every morning. But there's been a couple times where I've been gone for about 2 or 3 weeks. Obviously the missus will miss, the fuck out of me. And
shout out to FaceTime.
Yeah. Well, we actually, we get FaceTime through Verizon because we both have Samsung Galaxies.
Nice.
We're not fans of iPhone because of their whole making the technology slower and stupider shit over time.
Yeah. Which is understandable, but hey, that's why I don't do iPhone updates. That's why I never do updates, because I'm like, you're not slowing my phone down, asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they'll be like, to update Snapchat, you have to, nah,
kiss
I'm
my
good,
ass.
Fam. The one thing I do hate about my iPhone, though, is my chargers break all the damn time.
I don't actually have that problem with mine. They, I think mine was the first year, because Lily has a newer phone than me. I've had the same phone for 2-3 years now, and I love the fuck out of it. But they switched to I can't remember if it's a C or a D plug instead of the regular micro
USB. Which
yeah.
I'm glad, because that's what a lot of people are going over to. When I put my motherboard in my computer, I wanted to make sure it had micro USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it's going to. But that's some crazy shit, man. Well, you've actually got a contract to go fulfill here in a little bit, so I want to thank you for coming on the show, brother. I appreciate it.
No problem at all.
You've enlightened my world about arresting fugitives. You going to add me to that Facebook page? Because I'm not going to be a part of this kazoo thing I'm seeing all the damn time.
I can't actually send you an invite because of the fact that you're not
Fair enough.
a bounty hunter.
Fair enough. Not yet. I haven't decided yet.
I mean, if you want to be, then I can help you.
I don't know. How much did the licensing cost you to get? What's that?
Scary number. It was just $1,200, but to somebody that doesn't have money, that could be scary.
Yeah.
But I made all of my money back on my first hunt. My first real hunt. I made all of my money back.
Your first paid hunt.
I made all of that shit back. I made $6,000. That was my take home on my first hunt. And I got paid, that was nice.
Now, how often does a job appear for you?
All the time.
All the time. So it's readily available. You just kind of do the other stuff to keep a constant cash flow and then fill in where it's needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the hustle, man. You're on the grind.
Oh, yeah, man. I like to have money. I'm very expensive.
Mm-hmm. Motorcycles are expensive. Did you get a new bike?
Not yet. I just finished building one bike and I sold it. I'm working on getting a Road King now.
Look at you. The Little Sons of Anarchy coming out, man.
Oh, God.
I remember that shit.
No.
Well, anyways, I want to thank you for coming on the show. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, and we will get you guys in contact. Or you can email John personally, if you need PI work done in the area of Beaufort County, would you take on Chatham County jobs?
I might get out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all dependent on the case.
Yeah. So if you want a good deal and not shitty work for it, John's done plenty of work for me, and it's done great, and I appreciate him. That's what really actually started you coming on the show is I didn't even know all this was going on. I knew you were doing bail enforcement stuff because I talked to your dad, and then I found out you were doing PI work. I was like, I need some PI work done right now. Said, let me give him a ring. So he's helped out my family tremendously and done what we've needed him to, gone above and beyond for us. And so if you're really looking for some good PI work, good solid work, if you think the shawty's cheating on you, that's the man to call or email. Feel free to DM us if you have anything else. Any social media you want them to follow, or are you a pretty private guy on that end?
I'm pretty private on Facebook, but if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'd like literally never fucking post, but I'm hoping to start posting soon anyway. You can follow me at Complicated Profession.
That's a pretty good one. That's a good one.
I actually took it off of Star Wars.
Well, that's going to be it for the Django Fett of Beaufort County, Jack Beauchamp. I want to thank you for coming on the show, man, and keep doing what you're doing and keep on the hustle, brother.
Thanks, man.
You guys can check us out on Instagram at Ksammedia Group, or check us out on YouTube now at Ksammedia Group. Leave us a comment if you've got any questions for John. John will be back later this year to kind of recap his year. I really want to do that with a lot of people who come on the show, so he'll recap this year. And so thanks for watching. Don't forget to tell your friends and family.